Well, good evening, Lifehouse Church. Welcome to our Wednesday night devotion. So glad that you could take time to join us here tonight, and hopefully it is just a night of just a little bit of time to be encouraged, to be strengthened, and just to be able to add some fuel to your walk with Jesus. No matter where you're at, no matter what you're going through today, we're so glad that you are able to join us. A couple of quick announcements, and then we'll get into the Word. One of them, if you are doing a Operation Christmas Child shoebox, don't forget that those are due this Sunday. We will have a table out in our lobby where you can drop those off. So as you go to the store this weekend, as you're out and about, just make sure to fill up those shoe boxes. And what a great cause Operation Christmas Child is, as we take the hope and the joy of Jesus and the joy of the Christmas season to all corners of the world, partnering with such an amazing ministry. So those are due this Sunday. Don't forget to bring them. Once again, we are just continuing in our series, Thankful. What a great first week. And so if you missed those messages, those are up on our website. And I'm really excited about this series. This Sunday, we are going to be talking about being thankful in all circumstances. And we kind of hinted at this a little bit last Sunday, but we're going to dive into it a little deeper. How in the world can you be thankful in all circumstances? Is that even possible, to be able to be thankful no matter what happens in our life? And so we're going to be examining that this Sunday. So I would encourage you to grab a friend, invite them, 9:30 or 11 o'clock. Great job for those that have been coming to our 9:30 service. I've heard a lot of great feedback from people who've been able to rejoin our in-person services, because everyone that's been coming to the 9:30 service has been super diligent about creating an extra safe environment for those that are vulnerable. And so we want to make sure that we are our brother's keeper and believe that that's what God has asked us to do. And so thank you for those of you that have been coming to the 9:30 service for helping to maintain that environment of safety. We really appreciate it. And so 9:30 or 11 o'clock, also online, of course, either one of those times. We broadcast both of those services live. So if there's, a catastrophic train wreck in one, you get to experience that live, and the other one doesn't get to see that. So it's a great experience. So that is happening this Sunday, and then a week from this Saturday, also our men's breakfast is going to be happening. So I encourage you men to come out for that. Such a great time of fellowship, such a great time to be together. So want to encourage you to check that out as well. Well, I'm going to try to keep tonight somewhat brief. I know I say that every week. Maybe tonight will be the time it actually happens. And so I want to talk to you tonight about belief and what it means to believe in Jesus. This is probably the most common phrase that is used in just kind of our faith journey. People of faith, Christians, do you believe in Jesus? I believe in Jesus, and we use this idea of belief so much in just our jargon, our conversations. Jesus, when we pray, Jesus, I believe in you. We sing songs, Jeremy Camp, we make movies about it. I still believe, all of this. And so we talk a lot about belief. But I don't know about you, but, for me, sometimes when I hear a word so much, it can lose its meaning. Or I even wonder, what does that word mean in the first place? It's the total Princess Bride thing, where the inconceivable. And it's like, I do not think that word means what you think it means. And sometimes I feel like this can happen as we think about words, that words can lose their meaning, or we can kind of, their meanings can be weakened over time. And so tonight, I just want to spend a few minutes talking about what does it mean to believe in Jesus, and what is the power of that? If the whole foundation of our faith, and in Romans, or in Acts, when the apostles are saying, hey, believe in Jesus and you will be saved. And this whole idea that faith doesn't come, or salvation doesn't come from our works, but it comes through faith. It comes through belief. And so what does that mean to believe? Because if we understand it correctly, then obviously this has huge implications, because if belief is the cornerstone of salvation, if we understand that we don't earn our salvation through our works, but we receive salvation as a gift of God as a result of belief, then understanding belief is really important. And I think it's really important right now as the people of God to understand what it means to believe in Jesus. Because as I talked about last week, times like this can reveal so much about our own faith journey and about our own where we're really at, because sometimes we can feel like, we can talk a big game. And I know I'm guilty of this at times. I think all of us can be guilty of this at times where we talk a big game. Oh, I believe God's going to get me through no matter what. My faith is rock solid. Everything is going to be great. And then when adversity really comes, when we really feel threatened or shaken or insecure, then all of a sudden, all of those things are really put to the test. And what's really happening is our belief is being put to the test. And so tonight, I just want to spend a few minutes talking about what does it mean to believe in Jesus. And I want to talk a little bit about what belief is not first to help us get into that, because I think there's a big difference between believing in and believing that. There's a big difference between believing in something and believing that something. There's a big difference between believing in Jesus and believing that Jesus. And here's what I mean by that. Many people believe, church people, non-church people, Christ followers, not Christ followers, many people believe that Jesus existed. They believe that Jesus existed. They believe that he was a real person, that he walked the earth, that he's not a fictional story, that he was an actual flesh and blood human being, that Jesus existed. And so they say, oh, I believe that Jesus existed. I believe in the existence of Jesus. I believe that he walked the earth. I believe that he was someone that came and was a person. Some people say, oh, I believe that Jesus was a good teacher, that he was someone that came and he taught, and that he was a good teacher, that many of his stories still live on to this day, and phrases that he used, turn the other cheek and salt of the earth and things like that, still exist to this day. The golden rule, things that even if you're not a Christian or not a Christ follower, you understand that he was a good teacher. Some people would say, oh, I believe that Jesus was a good man, that he was someone that created moral standards, that he was someone that advocated for poor people, that he was someone that helped sick people. I believe that he was someone that helped people, that he helped the needy, that he helped people that were in segregated, lesser than sections of the population, that he helped fight for equality for them. I believe that Jesus was a good person, that he helped people. Some people would say, I believe that Jesus set an example for us to follow, that Jesus was someone that we can model ourselves towards, that he was a good moral example for us to follow. Some people would say, I believe that Jesus even did miracles, that there's just something that was crazy about Jesus, that maybe he did some stuff that we can't really explain, and so they believe that Jesus did these things. And so there's many people that believe that Jesus did things, that Jesus existed, that Jesus was a good person. But there's a big difference between believing in something and believing that something, because believing that something I think it's a lower level and a lower form of belief. But honestly, I think that's where a lot of people land on Jesus. Oh man, I believe that Jesus existed. Some people would even say, oh, I believe that Jesus, he's God, or I believe that Jesus, rose from the dead. I believe that Jesus, what he said was true. What he said about himself was true. I believe that Jesus, but it never changes their life. It never transformed them. They never find this power that we talked about earlier, this power of belief, this power of salvation, this power of knowing God in a different way. And I think that's because the belief that they have is a belief that and not a belief in. Because I think a belief that is a belief that can just be intellectual consent. When I believe that something, it's really, what I'm saying is I give intellectual consent to it. Yes, in my mind, I believe that happened. It's an intellectual thing. It's a mental thing. I believe that thing happened, and it's merely intellectual consent. Or belief that can be merely sympathetic alignments. Like, I believe that thing happened. I kind of align myself toward that cause. I believe in that cause. I believe, I'm sympathetic toward that cause. And so we say, oh, that's a belief that I have, that this is a good thing that happens. But I really think that there is a deeper level of belief. And it's not just a belief that, but it's a belief in. And here's what I mean by that. Here's a great way to unpack this. We've just come off of and are still in an incredibly crazy and chaotic political season. Now, I'm not going to get into politics. Your person may have lost, your person may have won. That's not the point of this illustration. But we can see the difference in belief that and belief in when it comes to politics, because some people, when it comes to politics, they have a belief that. They believe that their politician of choice is going to be someone that is going to make policy decisions that they're going to agree with. They believe that their politician of choice, they believe that that's going to be a person that is maybe going to help advocate for groups that they want to be advocated for. They believe that that person is the right person for the job. And these are people, of course, that get out and try to engage in the political process. They go vote. Maybe they have a bumper sticker, but that would be about the extent of someone that believes that. They want that person when they believe that that person can do a good job. But then we all know the person who doesn't just believe that that person's the right person, but they have a belief in that person. And that is a whole different level. You know someone. Maybe that someone is going to be coming over to your Thanksgiving dinner in a few weeks and things are going to get awkward quickly. Maybe you are that person, but you don't just believe that that person should be elected, but you have a deeper belief. You believe in that person. You believe in that person. You believe that there's something about that you're not just buying into a policy, you're not just buying into programs, but you're buying into that person, that you believe in that person, in their ability to do the job that you think needs to be done. And when you believe in that person, it's a whole different level. You're not just, casually like, yeah, I'm going to go vote. Man, you're active. You may have signs in your yards. You may have flags that you fly. You may have bumper stickers everywhere. You may be wearing shirts. You may be wearing hats, or you may be wearing keychains, or whatever it is. But it's a different level, not because you don't just believe that that person can do good, but you believe in that person. And I think that's the same thing that holds true with our belief in God, that there's a different level when we just believe that God is there. We believe that God can help us. We believe that God is something. But then there's a difference when we start believing in God. And here's the way that I want to unpack this. In John chapter 1, verse 12, out of the Amplified Version, which is not a version I use a whole lot, but every once in a while I like it, because if you're not familiar with the Amplified Bible, what it does is it will take some of these words, because you may not know, Bible was not written in English, it was written in different languages. And so what the Amplified Bible attempts to do is attempts to unpack some of the context out of these different languages so we can try to get a fuller picture of what the original language is saying. So in John chapter 1, verse 12, I really love the way the Amplified Bible unpacks the word believe. John's saying here, but to as many as did receive and welcome him, talking about Jesus, he gave the right, the authority, the privilege to become children of God. That is, to those who believe in, and here's how it unpacks this idea of believing in. So to believe in Jesus means this, that you adhere to, that you trust in, and that you rely on his name. So this idea of I'm not just believing that Jesus is the Son of God. I'm not just believing that he's God, but I believe in him. And when I believe in him, what's happening is I'm adhering to him, I'm trusting in him, and I'm relying on him. That's what it means to believe in Jesus. Not just intellectual consent, not just in my head, not just, I kind of align myself with the position of Jesus, but it's so much more than that. It's so much deeper than that. I believe in Jesus. I believe in him. I adhere to him. I trust in him, and I rely on him. When you think about adhering to him, I think about glue, and I think about something that's really sticky and stuck on. Like, I don't know if you ever had something that has just, you touch something and you just cannot get it off of your hands. It's just so sticky, and no matter what, it's just always there. Maybe, in the summertime, you've been walking through a field and you step through one of those like thorn bush things and you get those like stickers on you, and it just feels like, man, no matter what you do, you can't get the sticker off of your clothes. And I want to tell you, belief in Jesus means that we adhere to him, that we're stuck to him. That means no matter what happens, that you cannot pull us off of Jesus, that we're stuck to him, that we are clinging to him for dear life. Just like a clingy, if you've ever been around a clingy child or a clingy pet, and you know it's like no matter what you do, you can't get them away from the parent, you can't get that pet away from their owner. I think there's something about that God wants us to be clung on to him, that no matter what adversity we face, no matter what hardship we face, no matter what news we face, no matter what happens in our life, that we are stuck to Jesus, that we adhere to him, that he is the thing that is the non-negotiable in our life. And that is so much more than just an intellectual belief but now all of a sudden I'm saying, Jesus, I am stuck to you. Jesus, if we go down, I'm going down because I'm stuck to you, God. If we rise, I'm rising because I'm stuck with you, God. No matter where you lead me, I will follow. No matter what road we go down, Jesus, I'm not leaving your side. I am stuck to you. That's what it means to believe in him, that we're stuck to him, that we adhere to him. So it says to we adhere to him and we trust in him. And what trusting in him is saying, that we have faith in Jesus, that our faith, our confidence is placed in him. And I love in Hebrews 11:1, it says that faith shows the reality of what we hope for. It is the evidence of things we cannot see. That faith is the evidence of things that we can't see. And this is where we really have to stretch ourselves at times. And this is where we really have to push ourselves at times, because honestly, I want everything to be spelled out for me. I want to see the whole picture. I want to know all of the steps. I want to have God figured out. But if I knew all of the steps, if I had God figured out, if I understood all of the whys, then guess what? I no longer need faith. Then I no longer have faith. If I can walk and all of my questions are answered, if I can walk and I can see every step, if I can walk and the picture is perfectly clear, and I never have doubts, and I never have worry, and I never have these intersections that I'm not sure, should I go down this road? Should I go down this road? Should I make this choice? Should I take this job? Should I date this person? Should I do this thing? Should I give this much? When we never have these kinds of crossroads in our life, then we never have to exercise faith. But faith is what brings us into position where we can experience God. It's by faith that we are able to approach him. Look, if it's not faith if we can see the whole picture. If we can't see the whole picture, then if we can see the whole picture, we don't need faith. We have to have faith, because at times there's going to be times in our life where the puzzle pieces don't seem like they're going to line up, where you don't know how you're going to get from point A to point B. And guess what? In those moments, that's when you need faith. That's when you need to trust in him, to believe in him, to trust in him. Because at times you're going to need faith because it's going to be scary. Look, there's a big difference when you're standing at the bottom of a roller coaster and you look up at that roller coaster and you say, yes, I believe that roller coaster is safe. But there's a big difference then when you get in the seat and you strap on the harness and you start going tick, 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 up, 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 and then you get over that first hill. Then all of a sudden you don't just have to believe that roller coaster is safe. You have to believe in that roller coaster to keep you safe. You have to believe in those inspectors to keep you safe. You have to believe in this thing to keep you safe, because that is what trust is we have to believe in Jesus to keep us safe, no matter how scary things get, no matter how difficult things get, is we have to believe in him. And that's where faith comes in, because we're not always going to understand the things that happen in our life. Even right now, in what's going on in our world, you may not understand things that are happening. You may be frustrated by things that are happening, making it more personal. You may have prayed for some things to happen in your life and they haven't happened. You're wondering, God, why haven't you answered this prayer like I thought you would? God, why haven't you come through like I thought you would? And once again, we have to understand that how faith works is we have to believe God all the way up to the answer, but then it doesn't stop there. We have to believe him past the answer as well. We have to trust, we have to believe that God can, and we have to trust what he does. We have to believe that God can. He can answer any prayer. He can do anything. He can perform any miracle. And I want to pray and I want to believe and I want to live my life with the faith that he can do everything. But I also want to have the kind of faith that whatever he does, that I trust him with it. Because he's God and I'm not. Because he's the one that sees the whole board and I only see a little piece. Because he's the one that's sovereign and I'm not. So I believe that God can, but faith and believing in Jesus means, Jesus, I trust in you, and I trust what you're doing, and I trust what you've done in my life, and I trust where you're going to lead me in my life. And because of that, I can rely on him. So believing in Jesus, we adhere to him, we trust in him, and we rely on him. For example, today for me has been absolutely crazy. A few weeks ago, I was driving around and our van had a flat. We came out of a parking lot of a store. The driver rear tire of our van was flat. We took it to a local tire store and they fixed the tire. Well, that was a few weeks ago. This morning, we came out to the garage, same tire, completely flat again, and had to take it back. Now, all of a sudden, now I'm thinking, hey, this tire is not reliable. Maybe where we're taking it is not reliable. Like now I have questions, I have doubts, I have fears. I'm not sure, can I trust this thing? If I were to have to go on a road trip tomorrow, I would probably rent a different car because I don't know that I would trust my vehicle now to take my family, to take us where we want to go. And so many times in our life, when things get chaotic, when things get where the rubber meets the road, where the panic really sets in, we begin to rely on things other than Jesus. Maybe we start to rely on our checkbook. Maybe we start to rely more on our own ability, relying on our own intellect, relying on our own ability and strength to try to get things done. But believing in Jesus means that when things get difficult, when things get hard, that's when I rely on him. That's when I spend more time going to prayer. That's when I spend more time getting in the Word of God. That's when I spend more time, even though things are crazy, that's when I say it's even more important now than ever that I get away and get with God, that I get away to the secret place, that I get away to the throne of grace, that I come before God and I approach him because I rely on him. I'm not relying on my strength. I'm not relying on my creativity. I'm not relying on my ability. I'm not relying on my coping mechanisms. Come on, I'm not relying on my ability to process and my ability to try to make everything happen and my ability to try to cope. I'm relying on Jesus because I don't just believe that Jesus can help me. I believe in Jesus to help me. I believe in Jesus to rescue me. I believe in Jesus to get me through. And because I believe in Jesus, I'm going to adhere to him. I'm going to cling to him. I'm going to trust in him. I'm going to have faith that he can. I'm going to have trust in what he does. And I'm going to rely on him. I'm going to run to him and depend on him. And I know he's not going to leave me stranded. He's not going to fail me. He's not going to let me down because I believe in Jesus. And that's what it means to believe in him, church. That's the kind of faith that sets us free. That's the kind of faith that we have to get us through all of this craziness right now. I pray that you have a believe in him kind of faith. I pray that you have a faith that allows you to adhere to him no matter what. Nothing can rip you away from him. A kind of faith that allows you to trust in him. A kind of faith that allows you to rely on him today. Well, Lifehouse Church, thanks so much for joining us here online on this Wednesday night. Hope tonight's word was just a quick shot in the arm of encouragement for you. Don't forget, this Sunday we will be back 9:30 and 11 o'clock in person and online. Thank you so much. We will see you then.